There's a lot of misconceptions about egg freezing and all that stuff. These clinics in the UK were like, you're too old, go home. It was a very lonely, awful experience. 3 rounds of egg freezing, 4 rounds of embryos. I wanted this so badly, and I was like, I'm not going to give up. It was a testing time.
Wow.
It's about optimizing your body. I call it biohacking my ovaries. We've all been through trauma, and you pick yourself up.
What would you do if you were a divorced mother of 3 in your mid-40s and you meet the man of your dreams? Only he's younger than you are and has no kids of his own, but he'd love to someday. With you. If you hadn't yet hit menopause, would you do anything possible to get pregnant in your late 40s or early 50s? My cousin Laura's story is a fascinating one you don't want to miss. Hello friends, I'm so excited today because I want to introduce you to my cousin Laura Comfort. She is a mother of 5, 2 of which she had in her 50s. Yes, twins in her 50s, and she looks incredible. You have an amazing story, and you've got all these children. It's so interesting to talk to you, and I know your story, but I want you to share with our viewers what it's like to be a mother again in your 50s.
Yeah, it's challenging. I had quite an age gap between my third and the twins, and so you sort of forget the bad stuff.
Right, yeah.
But it's been, obviously, it was long awaited, and we were so excited when we finally conceived.
You've had a really long, rocky journey with even your first earlier 3 pregnancies.
I was diagnosed with PCO when I was probably 19.
Can you explain for our viewers what that is?
PCO is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It affects probably 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 women. It's a slight imbalance in hormones, and it can lead to things like amenorrhea, where you don't have periods. I was also a runner, and so I had a low percentage of body fat, and I was a lot of exercise my whole life, so I think that probably exacerbated it as well. But it can mean that you can have difficulty conceiving naturally. So I knew at a sort of young age that, I might not be the most fertile. And so I think I started researching about that. And when I first got married to sort of my high school sweetheart, I thought, right, let's find out more information and begin my fertility journey, so to speak. So I ended up having to see various doctors and taking various medications. I think it ended up being orgethol injections for my first son. And so I knew I had challenges ahead of me.
Right, right.
And then I managed to have my third child, my daughter Isabella, through IVF at the time. And I ended up having, I think it was 20 viable eggs. So
Wow.
I knew I had a large quantity of good eggs. So that wasn't the problem.
Right.
But as a lot of people know on this fertility journey, it's like this. You have to have the perfect environment, the perfect egg, the perfect, and to get it all lined up, then you have a little miracle. So then,
if it works, and it sometimes doesn't.
Yes,
for some
and a
couples.
lot of people have unexplained infertility. After I went through a devastating divorce, as many of us go through, I thought, well, hopefully I'll find love again, and you sort of reinvent your life and yourself, and you find your friends and your career and
right.
And then I did happen to find love again, and my
wonderful, her amazing husband,
Adrian, yes, and it was a quick romance, and I think at the time we didn't know if we would actually get married, because he was, I think, 31 at the time when we first met. And then speed forward, he moves in, and I start thinking, if this is going to last, I've got to start thinking about my fertility.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started.
Had he expressed interest in having children at some point, or he wasn't?
No, we were just having fun.
Right.
And so I think when I first said, well, I've got to think about this, you don't. I think he was a bit taken aback at first.
Sure.
Because he wasn't in that frame of mind.
Right.
But he saw the logic and he was happy to go along. So practically a year into our relationship, I started talking about freezing eggs and freezing embryos with the
Wow.
off chance that we might go the distance.
You might want children someday
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. And so we did. I think I did 3 rounds of egg freezings. I think I did a couple rounds of embryos, and it was a testing time
Yeah, sure.
on a fairly new relationship.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about egg freezing and all that stuff.
Interesting.
Because it's
And embryo freezing probably
yes,
as well.
it's not as foolproof as a lot of people think. You're
Interesting.
so excited you've got something in the bank
Right.
and you count on it, but especially the egg freezing thing is not so reliable.
Yeah. Wow.
So a word of warning to other women who think
Who are counting on
who
it.
think this
Right.
might be the answer.
Right. Okay, so then fast forward,
Mm.
you got married.
Yeah. So then I think we waited 6 years before we actually got married.
So it's a good thing you did freeze.
So
eggs and
yes,
embryos.
exactly. We were having a good time, and I was still trying in between. It wasn't just all of a sudden. The entire time we were together, we were like, okay, well let's try. And
Right.
sometimes we would do, we did IVF on 3 different continents.
Really?
And sometimes with
Wow.
frozen eggs or frozen embryos, sometimes fresh, sometimes not. We had some very close calls, and there was a couple of times I just remember ovulating on the airplane before the egg retrieval, and you go through a lot of emotional upheaval. It's
Right.
exhausting, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Mistakes happen. There's everywhere you go. I found different protocol.
Right.
And that to me was the hardest thing. And I think I just said to myself, don't give up.
Yeah.
And if I have any words of wisdom, don't listen to one doctor. Don't give up. How many clinics said you're 45 or over, go away.
Right. Right.
Your chances
Wow.
are too slim.
Right.
And I said no.
Right.
My mother had a miscarriage at 47 or something. So I knew that I could still
There was still some
conceive.
hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just
Yeah.
said, don't listen.
Yeah.
Keep going until you find the right doctor, you find the right clinic,
Yeah.
and make it happen. So secretly behind the scenes, I was, I call it biohacking my ovaries. But I've always been a bit of a biohacker because I'm an athlete, so I'm very much aware of what my body needs and body optimization. And
Right. So explain that for people who might not know the term. What do you mean by biohacking?
for me, it's about optimizing your body,
Right.
and your performance. And
I know you take a lot of supplements.
and it's yes, so it's everything from nutrition and supplements to their biohacking techniques, whether it's saunas and cold plunges, that kind of thing. It's a whole range. It's sort of it's a lifestyle,
Right.
and I've been doing that for many
Yeah,
years.
it's always been
because
very health
I've
conscious.
always been researching though what's good for my body. I've been taking mushrooms for over 20 years, and so a lot of this stuff that they're now saying, you have to do this, you have to
Wait,
do that.
you don't mean the psychedelic mushrooms, or do you?
No.
The kind that
I'm
you put in
talking.
tea.
I'll do reishi mushroom in the evening. I'll
Okay.
do lion's mane in the morning.
Right. Okay.
For your cognitive functions, I'll do.
Right.
I just mean I've been aware about optimizing
Yes.
my performance and my body for so many years, and then also trying to improve the quality and quantity of my eggs
Right.
and my uterus.
Right.
So,
Because you knew you were at a disadvantage for conceiving
yes,
in some ways since you were
'cause
19.
if I ever remarried, also I thought I might want to give my future husband a child.
Right.
So let's get on it.
Right.
Also, it's your mindset. And for me, the final clinic that it worked in, I had just gotten married, so I was in a good space. And the clinic said, you will go home with a baby. You will go home with a baby. And I was just like, where these clinics in the UK were like, you're too old, go home.
Wow.
And you really get, and I just said, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. And I wanted this so badly. I was like, I'm not going to give up. And then the last clinic, I also had problems with implantation because I had a lot of fibroids and polyps. So I had about 3 operations, I think.
And then sometimes can't that leave scarring
because
sometimes?
which can lead to scarring, which again leads to implantation issues. So I thought I might need a surrogate.
Right.
So I was like, okay, you are going to go home with a baby. You have to have a positive mindset and say, "No, it's going to work out. Just have a backup plan. If this one
Right.
doesn't work out, I'm going to switch to a different clinic. I'm going to switch." And this clinic, some of the clinics like in London, they would just put the embryo back in. You don't know who. Any doctor just puts the embryo back in. You have to leave messages on some random machine. They get back to you a few hours later. There's no, I don't know. It was a very lonely, awful experience at a lot of places. And then they tell you to go home, go out, have a glass of wine, go to lunch, take a pregnancy test. Here's some suppositories. Take a test in 2 weeks.
Wow.
I'm like, I just spent how many thousands, 50,000 or whatever
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Whereas the last one was like, great. They actually had a bedpan for a few hours. My husband had to carry me to the hotel room. I was pretty much in bed. They gave me the progesterone suppositories, injections, continue with the estrogen, take B6, take magnesium,
Wow.
this is what you need to do.
So they're helping you do
So it was a whole
everything
protocol,
possible
to convince your body
to accept this
It is
embryo.
pregnant.
Yes.
And also timing, whether you time a fresh cycle with a frozen cycle,
Wow.
and it worked. And I guess
After many, many, many
after
tries on your
many,
part.
many tries, and it can be a long journey, and if everyone has to decide what is right for them.
Exactly.
Maybe they're like, right, we'll try it 1 or 2 times, and it's not for me. We're going to adopt, or we're
Right.
going to get a surrogate, or we're
Right.
going to get a donor. We're going
Right.
to. You have to figure this all out.
Right. What's best for
Um,
you and your partner?
But my advice is, don't just listen to one doctor who
Right.
tells you to go home.
Right.
If you really want this, go for it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So then you did get pregnant
yes.
in your very early 50s. And what was that like, especially since you already had other children to watch out for and help go through school and all the things that we moms do? So how did this pregnancy feel different compared to the other ones?
I really enjoy being pregnant. So
Really?
unlike a lot of people,
Lucky you.
I love it. I love that nurturing feeling
Yeah,
and
yeah.
watching my body change and grow. Obviously, it's not the most comfortable thing because I've got a very small hip, so I'm all out here. And when
Yeah.
you try and have 2 in there,
Yeah.
sort of battling it out for space, but I was so overjoyed to finally
Of course.
get pregnant that I
Right.
was so excited. But I did have placenta previa, and I
Wow.
have a mild platelet disorder, blood clotting disorder. So
Mhm.
I
As
could
do
get
I.
out of the bed and lose a liter of blood. So I was in and out of hospital
Wow.
for several weeks, and we managed to get to 34 weeks, which was
That's
huge.
incredible.
But I had a team of hematologists and I had a team of surgeons.
So you made it 34 weeks with a lot of hard work during that pregnancy to keep
it
things
was very
going.
touch and go because of my bleeding condition. I was in and out of hospital for weeks, and you don't know if it's tomorrow if you can't stop the bleeding.
Right, wow.
So my daughter had to call an Uber and
And how old was
rush me
she
to
at
the
the time?
hospital. Well, it was only 4 years ago when she's
Right, that's
16
true.
now.
Okay.
So,
A 12-year-old. Oh,
12-year-old.
so sweet,
So-
helping you out.
and so it was a bit scary, but luckily I think because of my condition, they gave me, I think there's an injection to help their lungs mature,
Right, yeah.
things like that while I was in my 3rd trimester. So when the babies came out 6 weeks early, they were tiny, but they were perfect.
Yes.
And then also, COVID then comes around, but I had my husband home,
Yes.
which was such a blessing.
Yes.
So we just said, all right, let's just get on with it, set our alarm every 3 hours, pass the parcel,
Yeah.
breastfeed, breast milk in a bottle,
Yes.
and formula in a bottle. It was just sort of mayhem, I think,
Yeah.
for the first year.
Yeah.
The first 3 years or sort of
Sure.
so
Yeah.
much happens. But it's a joy.
And how did that feel? Did it feel in any way different in your 50s than it did in your early 30s when you had your very first child? I mean, at this point, it's not a new, you've been to this rodeo before. It ain't your
Yes,
first.
yes, yes, exactly. And in a way, I think that benefited me because I had a more relaxed mindset. I wasn't freaking out over everything. I think in the beginning, when you're in your 20s or whatever, and you're a young mom, I was a bit of a perfectionist. I was a bit neurotic. Luckily, the kids turned out okay, but you want to do everything perfectly,
Yeah.
and I didn't have my family to rely on, and now having the twins later in life, I think was great because
Yeah.
I knew they were my last, so I could
Yes.
kind of relax and enjoy it,
Yeah.
and enjoy the breastfeeding and enjoy the baby stages. Whereas when you're a new mom, you're like, what is this?
Right,
And why
right,
am
right.
I doing it wrong?
And you had the benefit of knowing that they're both healthy and that your body was okay because you went
Yeah.
through a lot of touch and go there for a while. So you could probably finally exhale.
Yeah.
And you had the wisdom of experience and perspective
Yes.
to realize how lucky you are and
Yeah.
were when they were born. And so you could just enjoy it. And you've got a very wonderful, very supportive husband.
Yeah,
And that
he's
really
very
helps.
hands-on. He's Australian, and he's just the best dad in the world. So I knew early on that's why I didn't want to deprive him of that experience, because
Yeah.
I think we met when he was 31. So at that point, he wasn't thinking children.
Right,
So,
right.
but in hindsight, I'm so glad we took all the steps we did
Right.
to, achieve our family.
Right.
Because now he's sort of, he's come into his
Sure.
own, and as a father, as a husband. So it's wonderful to see.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say it hasn't always been rosy. We've
Of course.
all been through trauma, and I went through a devastating divorce where I, lost myself and felt numb and lost my hair and panic attacks and and you pick yourself up.
Yeah.
And I had a car crash, and it was, you pick yourself up, and those moments are catalysts,
Yes.
can be catalysts for so
Yes.
much good.
Yes.
For finding yourself
Yes.
again, finding your career again, finding friends,
Finding love again.
finding love. And I said, and then having kids again.
Yeah.
One thing I said as well, after my divorce, is that I don't want to. So many women have this checklist.
Yeah.
This.
You mean the resume of the partner they're looking for?
Yes,
Next?
yes. These impossible checklists, and I just said I've got to open my heart and open my home.
Yeah.
And look at me now. I'm
Yeah.
super, super happy.
Yeah. That's so phenomenal. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
This has been such a fun conversation, and I'm
It's
so
fun.
glad to be able to share her
Yes.
with all of you. So I'd love to hear from all of you. Have any of you had a baby in your 50s, in your late 40s? What has that been like for you? We'd love to hear your story, so please share in the comments.
I was going to say the best is yet to come, and I just wrote a new song.
Titled The Best Is Yet to Come?
Yeah, it's
Love
going to be
it.
released soon.
And
so.
you'll have that on your Instagram. So follow Laura at Laura Comfort on Instagram. You'll hear about her song. You'll hear about her upcoming podcast. And thank you so much for being with us today.